Hello, friends. Welcome to the Wells Fargo Championship episode of Green on the Greens. As always, myself, Iain MacMillan, Cody Williams here. We are at the stretch, the start of a great stretch of tournaments, Cody. And by the way, for those of you watching, I had to change up my angle of my camera on today's show. Maybe that will change our luck around. Bit of a tough break. Alex Noren, we almost had an outright winner last week. Came up a little short, finished third. But hopefully this new camera angle it is going to give us some good luck. But yeah, like I was saying, great stretch of tournaments coming up. Wells Fargo Championship at Quail Hollow, PGA Championship next week, Charles Schwab Challenge, my National Open, the Canadian Open. Then we got the Memorial. Then we got the U.S. Open. Then we got the Travelers Championship. It's a great tournament pretty much all the way now until the end of June. Yeah. So buckle up.
Good time to be a golf fan. Yeah, it's especially, now that hockey season's over for you. Sorry about that, Iain. But you saw it coming when everything happened. I was following your pain on Twitter in real time.
Yeah, hockey season's over. Yeah, we don't need to talk about hockey. It is over for me as far as I'm concerned. It is golf season and baseball season. And really, baseball season starts at the All-Star break. So really, it's golf season for me right now. And what better time, like you said, for it to start than this stretch of tournaments. Also, the Myrtle Beach Classic is this week. I didn't look at a single. I don't even know who's in the field. Did you look at Myrtle Beach Classic at all?
I looked at it, and by that I took a cursory glance at the odds and then just turned away because it's a course we don't know anything about and a bunch of players that we know very little about, frankly.
At some point, I'm going to scan the odds list, and I'm just going to say a name based on 100% gut feeling. But to just finish off the recap, neither of us got a winner last week. Who was your closest one? Your closest one, I think, was Siwoo Kim.
Yeah,
top Siwoo. 5. I think he finished T14.
Yeah, he was knocking on the door.
Couple strokes away from a top 5 there. I did win closest to the win again with my Aaron Baddeley pick, who finished 30th or 40th, somewhere in that range.
I think it was T32, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was good enough. Bridgman was one stroke away from making the cut, so he missed the cut, so it didn't really matter what happened with Baddeley. I'd already won. I've taken a commanding 8-3 lead and closest to the win, Cody. We're not there yet, but a few more wins, and I'm going to be getting close to Dormy. Are you nervous?
I've already resigned myself with how my picks have gone on this show to paying for your round of golf, Iain. It's been everything that could go wrong this season with my golf picks has gone wrong.
And I have found a 100-1 pick that I love for close to the win this week. So we'll end the show on that. But let's talk Quail Hollow. I thought, do you know there's that famous interview where Kevin Kisner, someone asks him, you can win anywhere, right? And he's like, no. And then he lists 2 courses that he there's no chance he has to win at. I thought one of them was Quail Hollow. I went back and listened to the interview again. It wasn't Quail Hollow. So random trivia question for you. Do you know, first of all, you know the clip I'm talking about. It's a great clip.
I know the clip. I do not remember the courses though. Maybe Riviera was one of them.
It was Bethpage Black and Torrey Pines.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Which both make sense, but also Quail Hollow could fall into that for Kevin Kisner because you got to be long off the tee to win at Quail Hollows. Am I right in saying that?
To win, absolutely. You don't have to be necessarily long to have a good finish, but to put up the requisite score and be in the right positions to win, you definitely drive. We were talking offline, this morning about Ludwig Aberg, WDing from this event, and he is the prototype for the golfer that you would want this type of course. Extremely long off the tee, accurate off the tee, good with his irons, has a little bit of an underrated short game. You need kind of the complete game, but it starts off the tee.
Yeah. So Kevin Kisner in that interview, he said Bethpage Black, he said Torrey Pines. He could have right after that said Quail Hollow because when you look at his results at Quail Hollow, they weren't good throughout his career, even when he was playing good golf. So he certainly could have said Quail Hollow in that interview. You got to be long off the tee. I'm looking at strokes gained around the green as well. I think you got to be a good scrambler this week. Max Homa's won this event twice, but only once. It was at Quail Hollow. The second time it was somewhere else because Quail Hollow was hosting the President's Cup. I guess next year the PGA Championship's at Quail Hollow too. So next year this event's going to be somewhere else.
Yeah. Do you remember who won the PGA Championship at this event at this course in 2017?
Justin Thomas.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So Justin Thomas has won here. Rory McIlroy has won here 3 times. And then, of course, last year was the start of the Wyndham Clark story when he finally got his first PGA Tour win here, and then went on to win the U.S. Open, won Pebble Beach, and finished, second twice this year, and, third place finish at his last start. So, yeah, we got guys who can smash it off the tee is generally who wins here. Do you have anything else to add about Quail Hollow?
No, I mean, I think the one thing is the one difference between the PGA Championship setup and the setup we're going to see this week, the setup we see on the PGA Tour, is that the rough isn't grown up. So driving accuracy isn't as crucial. Good when point. You look at when guys are able to bomb it off the tee, it's kind of like a lot like Riviera, honestly, what we talked about with Riviera. Like the rough is not that penal, especially if you're long enough to just be in the right spots in the rough.
Yeah. Great point. PGA Championship, they'll grow that out a little bit. But I'm not too worried about guys who are a little bit wayward off the tee here this week. So I think we can get into our picks. Top 20, top 10, top 5 winner. We only had one crossover pick. I let you have it because you got more aggressive with a pick than I was going to get. So I'll touch on that when we get to them. But let's start with top 20. Who was your pick to finish in the top 20 at the Wells Fargo this week?
Yeah, not getting aggressive with this, but Akshay Bhatia is at plus 130. And frankly, I think that's a little bit disrespectful in a 69-player field to have Akshay Bhatia at plus odds to be in the top 20. So I'm going to jump on it. His last 3 starts were his win, a T35 in his Masters debut, which he played a little bit better than that. He just didn't really perform well on the weekend, but the first 2 rounds looked good. And then he came back and went T18 at the RBC Heritage. I think he's kind of just leveled up right now. Over the last 12 rounds, he's third in this field in strokes gained tee to green and strokes gained total. He's gaining across the board, even with the putter. That long putter is working for him. He was T43 at Quail Hollow last year at this event. I think he's going to absolutely improve upon that because he's improved upon that. But his results last year, like as a whole, this entire season so far, I think getting him at plus odds for a T20 is the right move here.
I do like that pick. I just got to acknowledge Paul in the chat here. He said this feels like an Iain Xander week. Let's see if he can fight the urge. I'll tell you now, Paul, I did. But I gave Xander a hard, long look.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Very close to doing it. I wasn't going to bet on him to win. I thought about him being my top 5 pick this week. I was very close. I didn't end up fighting the urge. I have no Xander stock this week. Can't do it. Won't do it.
There's still a couple of days for that to change. And maybe not on this show, obviously, but I'm sure you'll have some investment in Xander before the week is over.
I don't know who he's playing with, but I could see that being like a 3-ball bet on Thursday for sure.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, we didn't mention no Scotty Scheffler this week. So if it's Scotty Scheffler, then we'd already know who's going to win, but no Scotty Scheffler. So the field's kind of wide open. He's obviously waiting for the birth of his child. And as you mentioned earlier, Cody, Ludwig Aubert has withdrawn as well. A knee injury, I believe.
Yeah, a knee injury, which a little concerning. He's a young guy already having a knee injury, but it didn't hit the tone of the statement that he put out. Seemed like it was more maintenance than it was like an actual injury.
Yeah, that's too bad because I would have loved to see Ludwig play this week because I can't think of a course that fit his style of play better than Quail Hollow.
Right.
And he hasn't played it before.
Yeah, I mean, just bombing it down the middle of the fairway, sitting in the fairway. And I told you that conversation between us started because I said, save me from myself because I was definitely going to have him as my outright.
All right. My top 20 pick. This is also my dark horse pick to win. I sprinkled on him at 66-1. He's also my pick for my one and done pool. You're not going to like this one.
Uh-oh.
Ricky Fowler.
Oh, no.
Top 20 plus 175. Hear me out. If there's ever a time, I'm not betting on Xander, but I'm going to bet on Ricky Fowler. If there's ever a course, I think, to bet on Ricky Fowler, I think it's at Quail Hollow. His first win was the Wells Fargo Championship here. He's finished top 5 3 other times at this course, so he clearly loves to play at Quail Hollow. I know he's generally been in bad form all season, but he has had 2 straight starts where he's improved. T30 at the Masters and then a T18 at RBC Heritage. So small sample size, but at least, 2 straight events, he's kind of finding his swing just a little bit. So now it makes a lot of sense for them to, take that improvement one step further, returning to a course that he's obviously extremely comfortable at Quail Hollow. So it's not the best pick in the world. But it's one of those things where I just see enough signs where I think his odds, plus 175, top 20. I'm not getting too crazy, although I am betting on him to win as well. But Top 20 plus 175. I see enough signs to bet on and cheer for Ricky Fowler this week.
Yeah, I don't hate it. Like, it's not something that I would just completely like just roast you for. I don't think it's that at all. But I do think that when you look at the numbers from the last two finishes that you were talking about, he's gained 0.6 strokes on around the green and 0.6 strokes on approach over those last 8 rounds. So that is something to consider, that he is playing well. But we talked about, like, you don't necessarily need to be accurate driving the ball and need to be like just long. His inaccuracy is a little bit worrisome because he doesn't just miss like just to the left, just to the right of the fairway. He misses off the planet.
His fairway accuracy at RBC Heritage was 3% over the field average. So he drove the ball decently at Harbour Town. Paul points us out. He went 67, final 2 rounds at Harbour Town. Gotta like that. Paul also agrees with me. Could be catching good value. Looks like his best form this year. I'm just saying. I'm not going to die on this hill.
No. And I'm not going to push back too hard.
Like
I see where your logic is, and I'm not going to fight the logic. It's just not a play I would make. But I mean, hey, maybe that's more in your favor. That might be in your favor.
Right. Yeah. All right, let's move on to top 10. This is a guy, in terms of your pick, a guy I didn't play, but I certainly looked at him. So I like this play as well.
Yeah, we're going Will Zalatoris, top 10, plus 300. Another one where I think the odds are just a little wrong, and I think it's really influenced by by him WDing last week. But I think that was more, like I said with Ludwig, like I think the knee thing is a maintenance thing. I think this is a maintenance thing with Will Zalatoris' back, because he's still coming back from the injury. He came back earlier than expected from that injury, and he would have been playing 5 weeks in a row if he played last week. So I think it was just kind of taking a break at a tournament. Like, I mean, we talked about it last week. The CJ Cup Byron Nelson is not one that you're really lacing him up for and getting excited for, where this is a signature event. He's going to show up, and this is a major type field. We talk about it all the time, but in major type fields and major type venues, which this is a major venue quite literally, Will Zalatoris shows up. He finished T2 at Riviera earlier this year. That's a great comp for this course, and a lot of things you're looking for are the same. So I like that. And we talked about the erratic driving. That's always a concern with Will Zalatoris. We're not as concerned with that here. And when you look at his numbers, he's gained 0.76 strokes on approach over his last 20 rounds. He's been finishing pretty well. He showed up in the top 10 at the Masters. The putter always is going to worry me because it's Will Zalatoris, and it's the most uncomfortable putting stroke no matter what putter he's using. But at the end of the day, like when you get on these venues, these tougher greens, these tougher situations, he's always shown up big. I think he's going to show up big, and getting plus 300 at a top 10 for a guy who in these types of fields, in these types of venues, consistently shows up in the top 10. I think that's tremendous value.
I do like the play, especially at the value. My pushback would be not only withdrawal last week, Zurich Classic, him and Sahith missed the cut when they were like two of the only like actual good golfers in the field, and they missed the cut. Now I didn't watch, and we don't have strokes gained data from the event, so I don't know if that was more on Sahith or more on Zalatoris. I'm going to guess it was probably a little bit more on Zalatoris, but that kind of makes me a little bit concerned. There's no world in which Sahith and Will Zalatoris as a team should have missed a cut in Zurich, and they did.
At the same time, I almost completely dismiss the Zurich Classic in a lot of ways.
Yep.
Like it's such a different format. Like there are guys who are stroke, like you just on the PGA Tour are great. And would you ever want them in a Ryder Cup, a President's Cup? Absolutely not. So like, it's just team golf is just a different world. That course is so nondescript that I don't think there's just not much I glean from it. Yeah.
Fair enough. My top 10 pick, I'm going to go Matt Fitzpatrick. T11 at Zurich, and he kind of dragged his brother. Actually, now that I think about it, I did watch some featured groups on Thursday or Friday because I watched him and his brother play, and his brother was terrible. Maybe got better on the weekend. I doubt it. I think Matt kind of dragged him to T11 win, or T11 finish at the Zurich. Finished T2 here in 2022, but not here. It was at this event, not at Quail Hollow, so I guess that doesn't count. T35 last year, not a great finish, but I mean, so we have a 1 year sample size with him playing at Quail Hollow. Not going to concern me too much. Obviously, his driving distance has improved ever since he took the weight out of his driver, and we have seen some overall pretty good form. His short game has been on fire, especially his putting has been great. T22 at the Masters, T10 Valero, Texas, 5th of the Players. We've seen some solid finishes from him this season, so I'll go top 10. I do think in theory this is a good course fit for him, despite him finishing T35 last year. So we'll see if that theory holds up, because once again, I'm not going to put too much stock in a one tournament sample size at Quail Hollow. So I'll back him top 10 plus 275.
I like it. I looked at Fitzpatrick a pretty decent amount for this because did you bet him outright? Because I don't think I would bet Fitzpatrick outright this week,
Yeah.
but I do think that because I don't think he necessarily fits the total profile of what I think of when I think of a winner at this place. But I do think that one of the ways, you asked, can shorter hitters like Kevin Kisner win? He's obviously way longer than Kevin Kisner, but one of the ways you can have success on this course is putting the lights out of it and finding your way into the top 10 that way. And I think Fitzpatrick really fits that bill.
Interested to get your thoughts on this from Paul, aka Chips. I'm going Patrick Henley top 10 vomit. He says plus 190. Same reason as Ricky. I think he's catching form and there's decent value. I don't think there is decent value. I don't know why week after week, tournament after tournament, odds makers put Patrick Henley in the top 10 on the odds list. What has he done to deserve these odds, especially this season? I know a little bit of decent form. I mean, T3 at RBC Heritage, but that's an event he plays well every year, no matter what kind of form he's in.
Mm-hmm.
T22, T23, the T23, him and Xander finishing T23 at Zurich is not good. No. T22 at the Masters, that's where he finishes in every major is T22. Pretty sure if you look at his Wikipedia page, literally every major he's played in, he finishes T22. T68 of the Players, now we're getting, back to March, but Patrick Henley what has he done the past year plus to deserve these kinds of odds? So I personally disagree with this one, Chips. T21, he finished at the Wells Fargo here last year. Another just classic Patrick Henley finish at a big event. He went on that nice run late in the season, but when was that? Was that 2022 that he went on a late season run? Or is that?
Yeah, I think you're right, because that was Hovland going on the late season run last year, and I don't think Henley was really a part of that. So I think
it might have even been 2021. Feel like we're a couple years removed from that Henley run. And it was the end of. It's 2021. It was the end of 2021. Yeah, 2021 was his year. He won Memorial, BMW, and the Tour Championship. And then he had 2 wins in 2022. He hasn't won since the BMW Championship in August of 2022. There's just not enough. And there's some bad starts from him this year too. T68 of the Players, T36 at API, T56 at Farmers Insurance Open, T52 at American Express. There's just not enough on his resume, but odds makers love him. He's always top 10 on the odds list, and I just don't get it.
I was going to say, I agree with one part of this. I disagree with you with the value part of it. I don't think that's good value. I don't think getting Patrick Henley in the form that he's been in has been at plus 190 for a top 10 is good value. I do agree with the fact that he is catching a little bit of form. I understand that the Zurich was not a result that you want to see from them, but the strokes gain numbers have improved. When he was having a lot of not good finishes, the strokes gain numbers back that up. He was he's normally a very good driver, someone who should play well at Quail Hollow. And I do think that we're seeing the driving start to come back. The approach play never really went anywhere. The short game is starting to level out. So I do agree with the catching form part of this, but I don't agree that the value is there, because I think plus 190 with the way he's played, those odds should be about plus 250, somewhere in that range. I think that's where we should be talking with what Patrick Henley has looked like in 2024.
I just can't remember a time I've looked at the odds list and thought, oh, Patrick Henley has some value here. I just feel like he's just consistently the most he's basically Xander. So I'm being hypocritical because I bet on Xander all the time, and it's him and Xander are the same golfer. So,
but here's the thing. Who's more fun to sweat it out with, Patrick Henley or Xander Schauffele? It's definitely Xander Schauffele. Yeah, by a long shot. I tend to not bet on Patrick Henley because I like my mental health. I like protecting my mental health, and having to sweat out and watch Patrick Henley on the weekend is not something I want to invest my time doing.
All right, let's move on to top 5. You got a former champ.
I do. You mentioned it earlier. Max Homa, plus 400 for a top 5. And it's not been the start to 2024, much like Henley. Homa did not play that well early in the season. The strokes gain numbers were down, and then it seemed like he started to peak for major season because he got to the Masters and finished T3, by far the best major finish we've seen from him. And when you look at how he did it, he was trending with all the strokes gain numbers to where he was, particularly with his ball striking, started improving week by week, gained the week before, or the tournament before he played the Masters, and then gained 6.3 strokes alone with his ball striking at Augusta. And the putter has been hot all year. The putter's been carrying him to any decent finish that he's had. He gained in 4 straight starts going into the Masters, where he gained again on the greens there. He's been really good at this event, but even at Quail Hollow, he has the win at Quail Hollow, but he also has a T8 finish as well. So I think that he is really set up to succeed at this course. I think it sets up for his game really well. He's a great short game player. I think it's really underrated, but the ball striking has started to come back to form. He's decently long off the tee. I think he plays this course extremely well. I think it's one that just suits his eye. Riviera obviously suits his eye as well. Again, that's a very strong comp course to this. I think that this is setting up for Max Homa to be in contention once again.
Yeah, he did. He finished T55 at the RBC, but that was an anomaly bad week putting. He gained significant strokes putting the 1, 2, 3, 5 events before that, and then just had a bad week. And I think that just kind of happens, especially when it comes to putting. So,
and it's a Masters hangover. It's the week after the Masters, his first time ever contending in a major. I think if anyone was betting on Max Homa at the RBC Heritage, they don't know how the human body works when you're going through that much stress.
Yeah. Unless you're Scotty Scheffler, who just won.
Well, he's a robot. That doesn't count.
Yeah, I like that pick. I mean, I'm a big fan of just betting on defending champs anyway. So, well, not defending champs, former champs. All right, my top 5 pick. When I don't bet on Xander, I like to bet on the British Xander, which is Tommy Fleetwood. So I'll take Tommy Fleetwood. Top 5, though, I'm not betting on him to win. I will never bet on Tommy Fleetwood to win. I'm sticking to him to finish inside the top 5. And once again, these odds that we're citing are ties paid in full. So even a T5 will get us this plus 450 win. Similar to kind of Max Homa, where he played extremely well at the Masters, did not do well at the RBC Heritage, but I think we can forgive that a little bit. T3 at the Masters, his ball striking was fantastic. He was great. He's been great this season. Underrated around the greens, actually. I want to see if I can actually look this up. I want to say in strokes gained around the green, he's got to be top 10 on the PGA Tour this year, maybe, based on the fact that he's gained strokes around the green in literally every single start. Should have had this in my notes, didn't. Strokes gained around the green. 15th. I said top 10. 15th is pretty good. So that's huge for Quail Hollow as well. And he finished T5 here last year, T14 here in 2021. So 2 top 15 finishes, one of them being a top 5 already at this course. I think his style of play fits Quail Hollow well. He can be long off the tee at times. Like I said, great short game, especially around the greens. So I'll take him top 5. Not betting on him to win, because he just can't win in North America. He can't. So I'll take him top 5 plus 450.
I love it. This is another guy I looked hard at because his history here is great. And for his lack of winning ability in North America, when it comes to big events, signature events, when it comes to major championships, we see Tommy Fleetwood pop up on the leaderboard a lot in these events. And so at a course where he's already played well throughout, recent history, I think this is a really smart play by you. I like this a lot.
All right. I love it. All right, let's move on to your pick to win. Like I said, I was going to take the guy who you're about to take was going to be my top 5 pick. I swapped in Tommy Fleetwood instead, but I am betting on your pick to win. I bet on him to win as well. I like it a lot.
Yeah, Hideki Matsuyama. You talked about strokes gained around the green being super important. Over the last 20 rounds, Hideki's second in this field in strokes gained around the green at 0.66. He's also eighth in strokes gained approach over that same span. He's also 4th in bogey avoidance. He's the best in the field in scoring average on 450 to 500 yard par 4s, which we see a lot of at Quail Hollow. He checks all the boxes of what you're looking for here. And then again, bringing up Riviera, the strongest comp course for this. What did we see Hideki do? Oh, just shoot a 9 under final round to go on and win and just blow by the field on Sunday. Everything is setting up for Hideki to have a great week here. He finished T5 here at the PGA Championship when obviously conditions were a lot tougher. His track record here hasn't been as good as you would think, but the form and the fit just seem to match up too well. I think that Hideki does everything right that you need to win at Quail Hollow, and I think we're going to see that this week.
Yes, love this pick. Everyone was on Hideki Matsuyama at the Masters, myself included. I think it was a squad ride for us that week. Literally everyone was on Hideki Matsuyama, which should have been the biggest red flag in the world. We all should have jumped off and cashed out.
We mentioned that on the show. We're like, he's going to miss the cut or something. Like, it's going to go poorly.
The most popular bet on golfer never wins. And then he played to T38. I took him in my one and done pool too. And then he played to T38. And now I feel like everyone has now jumped off him because he let everyone down at the Masters. But if you can just look past the Masters and just chalk it up for a bad week for him, to be completely honest, he checks every single other box that you could possibly want heading into this week. So I'm going to stay faithful. I'm going to stay true to Hideki Matsuyama one more week. Now, if he lets us down again this week, then I'll be off for a little while until he finds form. But he was so good. I mean, there's a reason why everyone loved him heading into the Masters. And now this is a course I think that, fits his style, even more than Augusta. So, yeah, I like it.
Yeah, this is my one and done play this week because, I mean, it is a signature event, obviously big purse, and I think it's time to burn, not the biggest name in the world, but it is a big name. And so, I'm very confident that even if he doesn't win, he's going to be in contention.
Yep, for sure. All right, my pick, I'm going with a defending champ. Give me Wyndham Clark, 18-1 to win this week. Wyndham Clark, I mean, he's my guy. We're best friends ever since I interviewed him. But another guy who, at the Masters did not do well. Now, that was his first time playing at Augusta, so I think that's even more forgivable as opposed to like Hideki Matsuyama, because then he followed it up with a T3 finish at the RBC Heritage. So because of that, strong start immediately afterwards, I don't think he's just completely lost his form. I think, his first time at Augusta was just a little overwhelming for him. He is second on the PGA Tour this season in total strokes gained behind only Scotty Scheffler. Probably shouldn't be too surprising considering he finished second to Scotty Scheffler in back-to-back weeks. What was that? The API and the Players, was it? Back-to-back weeks, second place to Scotty. And then obviously he is now going back to Quail Hollow where he got his first win last year. It makes sense why he got his first win here last year. Quail Hollow is a great course for him, especially with it, with his length off the tee that he's found over the past couple of seasons. He's sixth actually in driving distance, seventh in total ball striking. So a lot of things to like about Wyndham Clark. He's proven, that last year wasn't just a flash in the pan with how he's played this year. Win at Pebble Beach, 2 second place finishes at big dog events. I think he should actually be second on the odds list. I think he should have better odds than Xander. I think he should be just right behind Rory. So at 18-1, I think there's some value there on the defending champ to go back to back.
Absolutely. Love it. I'm running a bit behind this week, full disclosure, but on fansided.com after this show, my picks will be posted. I have him in there for a top 5. I think he's going to be right back in the mix. Love it. So we like each other's picks for the most part. You don't like my Ricky Fowler pick. That's not a you thing. It's a Ricky Fowler thing. So my actual bets that I've placed, outright bets, I bet obviously Wyndham Clark. I did bet Hideki Matsuyama as well. I got 33-1, but there are 35-1, or at one place there's a 35-1 out there. I sprinkled just a little sprinkle on Ricky Fowler at 66-1 as well. All right, close to the win. If you're a new viewer and you're not familiar, we each pick a golfer that's at least 100-1 odds or longer to win that week. And then whichever golfer finishes further up the leaderboard by the end of the week, aka closest to the win, they get a point. Loser has to pay for a round of golf for the winner at the end of the season. I have taken a commanding 8-3 lead after Aaron Baddeley came through for me last week. I just want to confirm, what place was it that he finished? I think it was top T41, so just outside the top 40. So if you bet on Baddeley, you wouldn't have won anything because I think top 40 is probably the longest market you can bet on. Maybe make the cut if you can get those odds. What's that? Maybe make the cut if you can get those odds. If you've been betting my close to the win picks to make the cut, I've won almost every single week. Yeah. So let's see if you can start a little bit of a comeback here, because I'm starting to pull away. Who's your pick for close to the win? Not only am I going to give you my pick, I think I know who yours is, and so I'm going to guess before you give yours. But I have Brendan Todd, who, let's be very, very clear, does not fit the profile of what we're looking for a winner at Quail Hollow. I'm sure you do. However, do you want to know what his last two finishes at Quail Hollow are? I just looked it up while you were talking because I was like, he must have good history here, or else Cody would not be taking him. And yeah, T18, T8. Yeah, T18 and T8. And I'm taking a page out of your book. I'm not overthinking this. You know what Brendan Todd does well here? He puts the living piss out of the ball at Quail Hollow. He's not long. He's actually one of the shorter hitters on the PGA Tour, but he gets on these greens and gets around the green, and he tears it up. And he's done it the past 2 times he's played here, including last year. So I'm not overthinking it. It's a guy who's played well here. It's a guy who has played to his form. He doesn't hit the ball at the tee. He's gained on approach in his last 2 starts, and he's putted well, gaining with the putter. I think he's going to do that again, and I think that's going to lead to a good finish. All right. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense to me in terms of that, because, my initial reaction was that that seems stupid considering how short he is off the tee. But, I mean, it's not just one good start. It's 2 good starts, T18 and T8 here at Quail Hollow. So, okay.
Who do you think my close to the win pick is?
I think it's Cam Davis.
No, it's not. Interesting though.
Okay.
I wouldn't hate Cam Davis, but no, I'm going to go with, and I did find him at 100-1 at BetMGM. I'm going to go with Jake Knapp 100-1.
Okay. I like it.
That makes sense too. Long driver off the tee, great form, solo 8th last week at the CJ Cup, Byron Nelson. That's all I need to know. Never played a Quail Hollow, obviously, but long off the tee, good form based on last week's finish. 100-1, good enough.
I might be done putting anything on Jake Knapp at this point because I've tried multiple times and I feel like I've never gotten it right. So, but I mean, the logic makes sense. He should fit this course very well.
There you go. I just lost my blue check mark on Twitter for some reason. And
That's
it
tough.
says they're reviewing my account now and I've lost my blue check mark. So we'll see what that's about.
Are you
No longer
engagement farming, Ian?
What's that?
Is that the issue? Are you engagement farming out here?
I guess so. I must. There we go. That's our show. Wells Fargo Championship next week, the PGA Championship. I got an LPGA pick. Did you look at LPGA at all this week? No, because you said you're behind, so I doubt you.
Oh yeah, there's no world in which I've looked at LPGA this week.
I'm riding with the same girl who I've been. I think it might have just been in the last LPGA event I bet on her. I think she finished 3rd. She had a good finish, didn't quite win. Hyren Rue 20-1 to win this week's Cognizant Founders Cup. Great form. She's finished T9, 5th, and 3rd in her last 3 starts, and now she returns to an event where she finished 4th last season. 3rd on the LPGA in strokes gained tee to green, and that's what this event is all about. It's all about strokes gained tee to green. So 20-1, Hyren Rue. Nelly Korda is the women's Scotty Scheffler. She's plus 360 this week.
Oh my god,
she's probably actually she might not win. She missed the cut at this event last year, so maybe this isn't a good course fit for her. But I should have been betting on Korda when she was like 7-1, 8-1. I don't think I can do it at plus 360. So I got Hyren Rue as my best pick, 20-1. If you want my other 2 LPGA picks, go over to fansided.com/betsided, go to the golf section, and you'll see my other 2 picks. I got one at 22-1 and one at 50-1 as well this week.
I'm going to bet on Nelly Korda because I don't think she's going to ever lose again. So.
Yeah. The other PGA Tour event, I said I was going to just go off gut feeling. The Myrtle Beach Classic, you said that they've never had an event at this course.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they have not.
I'm going to go Justin Lauer, 35-1.
Man, I just looked at the odds as well and betted MGM, and I picked out the same name. So I think it's Squad Ride with Justin Lauer.
Squad Ride, Justin Lauer, Myrtle Beach Classic. T24 last week, T4, T25 there. Yep. He's consistent lately.
I was going to say everything you need to know about this event is that Daniel Berger, who felt like was out for a year and a half and is just now trying to get his feet back wet on the PGA Tour, is the second best odds in this field.
Yeah. Ben Griffin is the favorite.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. All right, there you go. That's our show. Like this stream, subscribe to us on YouTube. If you're watching this on Twitter, because I have been live streaming it from my Twitter account as well, just head over to YouTube and just give Betside a little subscription there on YouTube as well. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll be back next week for the PGA Championship at Valhalla. Cody, final thoughts.
I can't wait for Valhalla, but I am excited for Quail Hollow this week. It's like we said, it's a great time to be a golf fan, and it's going to be a fun couple of weeks.
Unfortunately, my favorite LPGA event is next week. It's the one in Liberty National, Mizuho. So I'm supposed to cover that. I got credentialed for it, but it's also PGA Championship week. So I don't know how I'm going to handle that. That sucks that I fell on PGA Championship week.
LPGA doesn't do itself a lot of favors with scheduling, if we're being real honest about it.
What's that?
LPGA doesn't do itself a lot of favors with scheduling,
yes,
if we're being real honest about it.
You are correct. I was just reading this comment from Paul about the course that is hosting the Myrtle Beach Classic. He said they actually held the final round of our golf trip in 2021. So yes, they've held an event before. Fair enough. Paul, it's the end of the show. It's too late, but you should have let us know your course breakdown so we could have made a better pick. But
did Ben Griffin win that final round of your golf trip? Is that why he's the favorite? Is it course history?
Great question. By the way, I picked Taylor Montgomery last week. He shot, I think, 9 over in the first round and then withdrew. Might have been my worst pick of all time.
Did you happen to look at the Data Golf live numbers of how many strokes he was losing? Because I actually almost messaged you. I'm pretty sure in the first round alone, when he shot 9 over, he lost like 8 strokes off the tee.
Yeah, true strokes gained off the tee, lost 6.71 or 6.17. Total strokes, he lost 11.51.
My God, that's tough.
I think that might be the worst golf pick I've ever made. It might be. And I picked him because he won like a Q school event here 5 years ago. I'm an idiot. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll be back next week.